What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the newest episode of the Las Vegas Raiders franchise. This is offseason number 2. That last offseason was crazy, which, I mean, it wasn't really crazy in terms of free agency and trades, but we did have 2 first-round picks, which we selected C.J. Henderson from Florida and C.D. Lamb from Oklahoma. Henderson had an up-and-down season. C.D. Lamb fought some injuries, but finished with like 500 yards, couple touchdowns, ultimately viewed as a success. But this offseason is going to be ridiculous because we gave our quarterback, Monsieur Derek Carr, the ultimatum. I don't care what kind of numbers you put up. If you do not get this team into the playoffs, you're done. You're done, son. You fail time and time again. The team's just going to give up on you. They don't care that you can pad your stats. They don't care that you can have a guy like Antonio Brown, C.D. Lamb. You got Williams here. They don't care that these guys can bail you out time and time again and make your box score stats look good. If you can't win, they don't care. And while a lot of the blame this season can absolutely fall on the defense, I mean, we made the bold claim to make it public information that if Derek Carr didn't make the playoffs, we would cut him. We can't go back on our word. We just got a brand new contract extension here for John Gruden, and if we would literally go back on that, renege that, and say, oh well, I changed my mind. I mean, you lose all credibility, and your reputation takes a massive hit. So it's going to be an interesting offseason. We can't trade anyone until the offseason begins, to right around draft time. So let's simulate through the playoffs. We'll do a full-on recap of where we are at statistically, who did what, who was a big time performer, and then we'll get into the actual offseason of free agency and the draft. Well, we got a brand new contract for John Gruden at level 14. We do have some decent XP to spend. Where I think we should spend it, I'm not exactly sure. I feel like best would be, we get bargain on the defense. We can go DB, DL. They need the most help. We still have 7,800 left, so that next year we could probably take a chunk at a wide receiver. That will benefit the most playmakers. But let's go all in on defense for training boost, because those are the guys that desperately need it, given how many times they fell flat on their face and couldn't help our team out last season. We're going to look at the 2020 Pro Bowl lineup before we get a recap of the stats. Derek Carr is QB2. That's interesting. That's just more value to the trade that we're gonna have to probably find a way to get him into. Chris Warren makes his second Pro Bowl from the fullback position. We got Antonio Brown at wide receiver 2. The biggest shock to me is not one of the 3 tight end spots went to Foster, who's the only tight end that got over 1,000 receiving yards on the season, which is ridiculous to me. He got utterly robbed. Rodney Hudson is the starting center. We got Cleveland Ferrell at defensive end. We got Mo Hurst at defensive tackle. Jonathan Abram at outside linebacker. And then to wrap it all up, we have a special teamer in Damian Ratley, like our 5th wide receiver, somehow makes punt returner, even though we had Antonio Brown on the punt returner. But thanks, Madden. I will take whatever little XP juice Ratley will get from making the Pro Bowl. But I can't believe Foster Moreau did not make the Pro Bowl, being far and away, in my opinion, the most productive from a statistical standpoint tight end in the National Football League. The regular season stats, as you can see, Derek Carr 2nd in passing yards, 8th in passing touchdowns. We got top 10 numbers from Josh Jacobs, 1,200 rushing yards, 11 rushing touchdowns. AB was 1st in the league in receiving yards with 10 touchdowns. It's a thing of beauty. Looking at the actual, so we got 4,700 yards, 34 touchdowns, 11 picks for Derek Carr, which falls, just below what he did last season. More turnovers. He threw the ball a little bit more. More yards, less touch. I mean, either way, the fact that he's got almost 70 touchdowns in 2 seasons, his trade, like, he's playing the best football of his career. He just couldn't put it together. And ultimately, you know what? Our defense kind of shit the bed more often than not. But hey, Derek Carr, if you got 44 touchdowns, like some quarterbacks did, I actually think only maybe one quarterback did, maybe, just maybe, we would have made that run, and you could have compensated for it. So, like I said, we got to stick with our guns, and I think Derek Carr's trade value is at an all-time high. Running the ball, we got 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns for Josh Jacobs. So we found our calling. Chris Warren made his 2nd Pro Bowl. We utilized him a little bit as a running back. Benjamin was fine as a rookie, 244. 4 touchdowns, really taking over the role for Jalen Richard, who missed a lot of the season due to injury. But I like seeing Josh Jacobs there, man. He's a guy, like, you felt every bit of that 76 yards helped with that balance, especially down the stretch where he won the last 4 games of the year. Josh Jacobs was good. AB, I mean, he didn't replicate, what was it, 1,900 yards and 25 touchdowns a year ago, but still best wide receiver in the National Football League. 69 catches, nice. 1,600 yards and 10 touchdowns, averaging over 100 yards a game. Moreau, 73 catches, almost 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. Statistically speaking, the best tight end. Still shocked he did not make the Pro Bowl. We got 730 and 9 from Tyrell Williams. Low-key, real productive season there. Only 1 touchdown away from double digits. CeeDee Lamb, our first-round pick at Oklahoma, 22 catches, but made the most out of those catches, 530 yards and 5 touchdowns. You think of both him and Renfrew, who got 36 for 501. If both those guys didn't miss significant time, man, I mean, Derek Carr might have had 55. He might have broke the passing yard record. Beyond that, offensive line, I hate seeing these numbers. 12 sacks. I mean, that's definitely better than a year ago, for sure, as we saw Rodney Hudson make the Pro Bowl with only giving up 4 sacks. And that's not bad for Runyon here. Rookie getting kind of thrown to the wolves, only giving up 6 sacks. It's not bad. Defensively, Abram was sensational as we made our whole let's make safeties our linebackers because our pass defense sucks. It worked down the stretch. There was a couple weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks, that it was rough, and then we started to put it all together. I think this is going to be the success of this defense going forward. Maybe a trendsetter. Maybe we are starting something brand new here in the National Football League. But Abram, 101 tackles, 8 TFLs, 6 sacks, 6 picks on the season. In my opinion, he should win Defensive Player of the Year, but we'll have to wait and see. 90 tackles for LaMarcus Joyner. We got 13 sacks from Cleveland Ferrell, obviously getting 6 sacks in one game, or was it 5 or 6 sacks in one game? Was unbelievable. That inflated these numbers a little bit, but we got him up to a superstar dev trait. That's all you can ask for. Mo Hurst continues to be, in my opinion, top 3, maybe top 5 defensive tackle in the National Football League. 50 tackles, 13 TFLs, 12.5 sacks on the season. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson making that conversion from corner, then to safety, and now to linebacker, finishing with 48 tackles, 5 TFLs, 6.5 sacks. Riddick got 5 sacks. We got 4 sacks from the rookie Neville Gallimore. Melifanu, 86 tackles, 2 sacks. I think we're starting something special here. So we get the 6 picks from Abram, 3 from Garyon Conley. So that's 10 picks in the last 2 years for Garyon Conley. Well, he does give up a lot of plays. If we can get a little bit more consistent there, at least the turnovers there. CJ Henderson finished with 69 tackles, 3 TFLs, 2 picks, which is pretty good, man. Corner is one of the positions that rookies tend to struggle the most in. The jump from college to the pros is huge. So, I mean, it's definitely a good building block season for CJ Henderson. Kicking, we have Carlson here, 78%. We did sim a lot of the first couple games because, this is the shambles season where pretty much half the year we had to redo it because of the Madden title update. So I was just playing offense only because you know me. I'm not a 78% field goal percentage YouTube kicking god. Okay, we would do a lot better than that. Punting, same thing, man. We have 40 punts for Townsend. I would have at least 25 punts within the 20, but the computer did a lot of the punting for us this year, so that is it. Kick return, there's the numbers there. CeeDee Lamb was productive. Punt return, see, look, Damian Ratley, he made the Pro Bowl as a punt returner, had no return. So, I'd much rather you give the award to Moreau because it might help him with his dev trait, but it is what it is. So looking at where it stands around the National Football League, Derek Carr second in passing yards, only to Patrick Mahomes, but you see the difference. That's the difference right there between a quarterback that can overcome a terrible defense and lead his team to the playoffs, and a quarterback, well, I mean, the Chiefs didn't make the playoffs, but he could have, right? And a quarterback that is just good enough, and the talent around him makes him better. So Mahomes led the league in passing yards. He led the league in passing touchdowns. Ryan Tannehill, instead of Jacoby Brissett going to the Saints, it was Ryan Tannehill. He got 4,400 yards, 41 touchdowns, 11 picks. Late career resurgence for him. Brissett, still just unbelievable, filling in for Ben Roethlisberger with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Almost 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns for him. Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Cam, Mariota, Carr, Foles, Kyler, Garoppolo, Rodgers, Stafford, Luck, Lamar, Brady, Ryan, Goff, Winston, Rivers, Wentz, Keenum, and Andy Dalton. All the quarterbacks that go over 30 touchdowns. And in my opinion, 30 touchdowns, that makes you like a solid. That's a good season. Running the ball, Todd Gurley led the team with 1,600 rushing yards, just beating out Le'Veon Bell by 10. Gordon, Zeke, David Johnson, Saquon, Geis, Kamara, Jacobs. There we go. That's a nice spot for him. Connor, McCaffrey, Coleman, Mixon, Fournette, Chubb, Hunt, Eckler, and Aaron Jones are all your 1,000-yard rushers on the season, with Gordon and Zeke tied for most rushing touchdowns. On the receiving standpoint, AB did not have the most receptions. We had Michael Thomas, Tyreek, Keenan Allen, and Sammy Watkins as the... Oh, my God. Okay, Red Allison did have a good year. Don't think he... You know, the fact that 3 tight ends made it over Foster Moreau is ridiculous, because I guarantee that's the second best stat line, and Moreau's is better than that. AB led the league in receiving yards. Let's see, look, first tight end, I guarantee Foster Moreau there, 73 catches, 1,000 yards. No tight ends even close. How do you not make the Pro Bowl? Garbage. Most receiving touchdowns went to Tyreek with 19. He's, you know, Tyreek, if he does that again, he might be able to catch up to the record we set with AB a year ago. No O-lineman had the luxury of not giving up a single sack. A couple guys only gave up 1. Defensively, Levante David led the league in tackles with 134. Olukun for the Falcons, 133. Miles Jack, a new member of the Giants, 131. Jayon Brown had 130. For sacks, J.J. Watt led the league with 17.5. I mean, you can't even really go by this, because, you know, when you show sacks and picks, it's all about how many total tackles you had. Because I assume Aaron Donald had a bunch. They're just not... Oh, there we go. Aaron Donald, for example. Oh, no, maybe not. 23 TFLs for Aaron Donald. Okay, so 17 sacks for J.J. Watt, 13.5 for Khalil Mack. So we know, based upon our numbers, Cleveland Ferrell, at least based off this little sheet here, Cleveland Ferrell was 3rd in the league in sacks. Mo Hurst would have been top 5. So that was great production. 3-way, 4-way, 5-way tie for interceptions leader. Jerome Baker, Jonathan Abram, Steven Nelson, Eric Berry, and Honey Badger all had 6 picks on the season. Best kicker, Maher for the Vikings. We'll go with him. 17-17 for 100%. Best punter. What do we got? Who got the most in the 20? In the 20 is all that matters. Matt Hack just beat out Townsend. I pretty much did that down the stretch. We would have had it for sure if we played the full season. But hopefully EA does not release another game-breaking patch and we can get through year 3 without having to do anything ridiculous. But those are your individual stats. Now let's get into free agency. Awards MVP went to Patrick Mahomes. Man, Derek Carr didn't even make that shortlist. Coach of the year went to Sean McDermott. In the AFC, Offensive Player of the Year went to Patrick Mahomes. Derek Carr coming in at number 9. I guarantee no one else on this list is on the trade block. Defensive Player of the Year went to Jonathan Abram. Let's go. He earned it. He is sensational. He's awesome, man. It's just a game changer. That new hybrid. He's becoming that beast. J.J. Watt was the runner-up. Looking at Offensive Rookie of the Year went to Justin Herbert. CeeDee Lamb coming in at number 3 for our Raiders. Eno Benjamin at number 5. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Trayvon Diggs, just beating out C.J. Henderson. That would have been huge for C.J. Henderson to get that award under his belt. Might have been a dev trade bonus, but second place is not too shabby. And really for how well he played, how inconsistent he was, I don't know if I would feel great about him being the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Hopefully Diggs actually played better. Neville Gallimore coming in at number 7. Quarterback of the Year went to Patrick Mahomes. Derek Carr coming in at number 4. Looking at running back, went to Le'Veon Bell. Josh Jacobs coming in at number 5. Wide receiver went to Tyreek Hill, beating out Keenan Allen. AB at numero 3. We're going a little French here. O-lineman of the year went to David DeCastro, beating out our boy Rodney Hudson. Rodney Hudson gave up 4 sacks, so I probably wouldn't give it to him. That 4 sacks is not great. D-line of the year went to J.J. Watt, with Mo Hurst coming in at 5. Cleveland Ferrell at 6. Linebacker of the year went to Jonathan Abram. I like that. You know, the annoying thing is we need to get one of these guys an award, because I feel like this is the only way you get a Superstar X Factor, is one of these 2 guys has to win DL of the year, and it could be very tough to do that, especially looking at the 2 of the guys that are ahead of them. Not so much Zettel, but J.J. Watt and Myles Garrett to win that award in the future. DB of the year went to Steven Nelson. We had nobody make the list. Kicker of the year went to Josh Lambo Carlson, coming in at number 3. So Jonathan Abram gets +5 to his ability. Not a dev trait? Oh, there we did. Okay, did. He had a star. I forget that he only had a normal dev trait. So now he's up to a star. This is only the beginning. Remember this moment, because in 3 years' time, 2-3 years' time, Jonathan Abram is going to be the best linebacker in the National Football League. This one stings in the Super Bowl. It's the Chargers, a team that I personally feel like we're better than. They are the team that gets to hoist the Super Bowl. Rivers was unbelievable on the day. I mean, maybe the game was too big for Kyler Murray. 5 touchdowns for Phillip Rivers. Gordon had a good game. David Johnson went off. You got 3 receiving touchdowns for Mike Williams. On the defensive side, Melvin Ingram, 2.5 sacks. You got a pick for Derwin James. How many fumbles did he have? Did he have any fumbles? I find that hard to believe. But the Chargers are the champs. The pressure is on for John Gruden to get a result in year 3. Before we get into free agency, let's just see who's picking ahead of us in the draft. It's trying to see who we have to leapfrog to get a quarterback. I mean, it could start as early as 29, so that's pick 4. The Minnesota Vikings, I don't know what they're going to do with Kirk Cousins. That might be the team we want to try to trade with. The Colts still have Andrew Luck. The Lions got Stafford. I don't think they're going to pick a QB. Could be the Bengals. The Bengals are a big one. The Giants, the Titans. You can look at the Patriots. Tom Brady just retired. We definitely have to get ahead of the Patriots for sure. I think, let's go. I'm going to double check. The Titans, Giants, Bengals, Vikings. I want to see what their quarterback scenario is looking like. Titans have Mariota. There's no way they're going to be drafting a quarterback. The Vikings got Cousins. They could be looking for a QB. I don't know if we can. That might be the first team we want to try to reach out to. Because let's be honest, I personally think Derek Carr is a better quarterback than him. Seahawks are ahead of us, but they got Russell Wilson. He's not going to be getting a QB. Patriots, they're a big one. We definitely have to leapfrog the Patriots if we want a chance at Trevor Lawrence. You look here, the Lions. Stafford is not great. I think Derek Carr could be a great fit there. I don't know if they'd want that much salary cap locked up into a QB. You got the Giants, definitely are going to be probably passing on Daniel Jones. They will need a quarterback. The Eagles don't. They still got Wentz, clearly. Colts still got Andrew Luck. I know that feels bad if you are a Colts fan. You got to look at the Broncos. They got, I mean, the Broncos could look for a quarterback, maybe. The Bengals got, Bengals are definitely looking. That could be, I think that's it. I think that's a team. The Vikings and the Bengals are the 2 teams. I think we might have the best opportunity at flipping Derek Carr and moving up in the draft so we can get our guy. So looking at free agency, you might see one thing. You might see another thing. If you're smart, you're looking at this. Deshaun Watson is set to be a free agent, which means 2 things. One, he's going to go to one of the teams. Hopefully, he ends up going to the Patriots, so that eliminates a team that could want and select a quarterback ahead of us. But that now makes the Houston Texans another QB-needy team that has a pick ahead of the Raiders. Now, as the Raiders, we are now in our first year in Las Vegas. People see the upside, so that means we should be able to attract some big money free agents. And right at the rip, one of my favorite players in the National Football League is Keon O'Neill. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, you have a good, strong safety in Carl Joseph. Yes. But I don't know if you took notice of how we run our linebackers. Keon O'Neill, look at his stats. He would be the perfect linebacker to pair with Abram. 87 speed, 85 tackle, 91 pursuit, 98 hit power. He's already a superstar, something we desperately need on the defense. I'm gonna up my bid here a little bit. I'm gonna round off both these numbers. So we're gonna ensure that we can get, look at that. We almost have a 10-point bid over the Dolphins, and there's no way in hell you're going to Miami when you could go to Vegas. Beyond that, there's no real picks. I mean, you have actually Ibukam, who's, we could slide him a defensive end. He could be an interesting playmaker. And while I do like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, if we do sign Keon O'Neill, he's probably going to take over for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at right outside linebacker. I mean, it's Keon O'Neill. He got that fumble cheese. This is a man that has got an enforcer, and we're going to be able to get some fumbles. So I don't know if I can give even that much more of an offer to him. That is a 5-year, almost 78. We'll round that off. We'll get $79 million. Does that give us any more points? Let's see if we can get it to 105. If we can get this up to 105, I think we should feel fairly good about our deal. Come on. Because we are going to get Derek Carr off the books, right? So that's going to free up a lot of salary cap. There we go. We're up to 105. If we don't get that bid, we're just never going to attract. Maybe it's the inverse. We thought going to Las Vegas would attract all these big money free agents. Maybe we need to get like Nate Burleson and Randy Moss and have one of those Minnesota Viking boat cruises to get some of these free agents in town. But it'd go a long way bringing in Keon O'Neill and just having him be a part of this new hybrid defense that we are building. and it's an X factor. Then we just got Nick O'Leary as a depth tight end to be our third tight end on the roster. So fingers crossed we can land Keon O'Neill, which will start an unreal offseason for the Raiders. Oh, fuck you, man. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck. Oh my. Our bid was way better. Our bid was way better, man. That is okay. Good news. Deshaun Watson went to the Patriots. That is garbage, dude. Absolute garbage. I guess we're never gonna sign a good money for. We overpaid so bad for him. Fuck you. And then we were able to make a move to get the 4th overall pick, which should satisfy the tank for Trevor Carr. We had to send Derek Carr, our 1st round pick, at pick 17, and this one kind of stings. I wasn't expecting this. He was the only player to get this deal over the line. Tyrell Williams, a man that got, I think, 19 touchdowns the last 2 years. He's really going to make the Vikings wide receiver core scary. Derek Carr is going to have Tyrell Williams. He's got to have Tylan Wallace, very talented Oklahoma State wide receiver, Thielen, and Diggs. But we're able to send that to the Vikings. We get a 1st round pick this year at pick 4. We get their 2nd round pick next year. And this is like very similar to, like, remember Brock Osweiler when he got traded from the Broncos to the Texans? Pretty much the value is you're eating his contract. We had to make this move. Cousins, it's only a 1-year deal, but he had like $20 million cap hit. No one wanted that. They didn't want to eat the dead money, so we actually are doing the Vikings kind of a favor by taking Kirk Cousins on. And hey, he's going to be a nice veteran backup, back where he belongs, where he started on the Redskins, to whoever we decide to draft in the 2020 NFL draft. I still can't get over that Keon O'Neill stuff. This is like the biggest trade in franchise history, in episode history. And I still am just livid about Keon O'Neill turning down that deal. All right. If one of the 3 teams ahead of us draft Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to break my brand new like $800 monitor right now. That's what's going to happen. So first overall, we have the Baltimore Ravens. We should be good. They have Lamar Jackson, right? Next pick. They do not select our guy. They go Xavier Thomas. So we have the Seattle Seahawks at pick 2. They have Russell Wilson. They should not be selecting a quarterback. They get Rondale Moore from Purdue. The Philadelphia Eagles at pick 3 have Carson Wentz at quarterback. They should definitely not, come on, Matt, I don't have broken logic, draft a quarterback. And they get Amon-Ra St. Brown, classic Eagles, going Pac-12, getting a U.S. wide receiver. So here we go. At pick 4, the Raiders are on the board. It took a lot to get to this point. We do have our pick of the class at quarterback. I don't even want to think if it's a glitch class that Trevor Lawrence somehow is still there, like the 2nd round or anything crazy like that. We're not even going to think that's a possibility, but there are 4 first-round quarterbacks. We have Alan Bowman from Texas Tech, JT Daniels from USC, Justin Fields from Georgia. But all along, man, there's only one option, and it is maybe the greatest quarterback prospect of all time, Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. A+ throw power, A short, A mid. For whatever reason, has a ridiculous broad jump. He can move for a 6'6" guy, 4.8 40-yard dash speed. Let's not even dwell on it, man. We missed out on Keon O'Neill. Let's put that behind us. Put the fact that we straight up got Nick O'Leary as our only free agent. We moved to Vegas so that we could sign big free agents. Overpaid for Keon O'Neill. Still did. Okay, G4, calm down. We're getting our guy. Trevor Lawrence is the new franchise quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. AB, don't be crazy. Don't hang out with OJ in the offseason. Hang out with your brand new shiny toy, the greatest quarterback prospect in football history. Not John Elway, not Dan Marino, not Peyton Manning, not Andrew Luck. It's Trevor freaking Lawrence. 81 overall, hidden dev trait, flexing on him, got the Goldilocks, 81 strong. Oh, that is unbelievable. 95 throw power, 86 deep accuracy, 88 medium accuracy, 88 short, 75 throw on the run, 83 throw under pressure. We got 76 speed, 80 acceleration. This guy is the total package. And, oh, I can already just see him getting hurt in like the preseason. We're not even gonna think about that. Let's think positive. We got our guy, Trevor Lawrence. welcome to the Raiders. Getting into our draft recap, did very well. It all is balanced on Trevor Lawrence anyways. 81 overall with that hidden dev trait, which we can only imagine. The sky's the limit on that thing. It better be at least a superstar. In the second round, we got Mac McCain III, small school prospect out of North Carolina A&T. But you look at the stats, he was the only scheme fit at corner. I wanted to bring in another young corner into the room. He comes out 69 with a hidden dev trait. Regarded as maybe one of the best slot corners in that class. 91 speed, 90 acceleration. I'm very excited to bring him in, especially with that dev trait. He is going to be tremendous depth and a big asset to the secondary. Third round, we got TJ Vasher, wide receiver, gigantic option out of Texas Tech. Kind of replacing what we lost in Tyrell Williams, that big outside wide receiver, 6'6". We comes in with 88 speed, 80 acceleration, 80 catching, 83 catch in traffic, 87 spectacular catch. So really, we're trying to identify a Tyrell Williams replacement. More so with depth. I mean, ultimately, Tyrell Williams replacement will probably be CeeDee Lamb. Our wide receivers are going to be Antonio Brown and CeeDee Lamb on the outside with one of Trevor Lawrence's favorite targets ever in Renfro at slot. And then Vasher will probably be at least challenging for some snaps as a rookie to make the final 53. Fourth round, we have the aging veteran on the defensive side of the ball. The man that took the biggest regression was free safety LaMarcus Joyner. He went from an 83 down to an 80. So we're looking at Reed Blankenship, small school prospect again out of Middle Tennessee State, but he comes out as a 69 with a hidden dev trait. So he, along with Steven Denmark, we have two safeties that are going to have a nice dev trait that are young, that are both going to be battling it out to try and be this eventual successor to LaMarcus Joyner in this defense. He comes in, solid athlete, 85 speed, 86 acceleration with 78 zone, 71 pursuit, 72 hit power, but much more as safety. Don't think he'll be one of these guys that we eventually look to move to linebacker, unlike Steven Denmark, who is more suited to that role at 6'4", 220. Then in the fifth round, troubled running back Puka Williams had some off the field, but we're more so trying to look for just more depth because we know the injuries that we suffer at the. I wasn't going to draft another running back. I know Puka Williams. We avoided Kareem Hunt 2 free agencies ago because we knew about the off the field. Puka Williams had some off the field at Kansas, but he is a home run hitter. We've used him in rebuilds before. 94 acceleration with 92 speed, 88 agility, 82 carry, 82 juke. He is a guy that you could definitely carve for some snaps, especially if injuries start going into our backfield, which we have seen in years before. Sixth round, we're adding our fourth tight end to the roster, Luke Ford out of Georgia. Almost a scheme fit. He's more so a blocking option, filling in for Chris Manhertz, who we let walk to free agency. We brought him in to be a blocker. And Luke Ford's probably the best blocker between him and Nick O'Leary at the tight end position. And then we went for the all-name at 7th round, and we got Lloyd Cushenberry III out of LSU. Great value, 60 overall scheme fit center. Should have a fairly easy path to becoming the second center on our depth chart behind Rodney Hudson and getting to learn from one of the best centers in the National Football League. 83 strength, 70 run block, 77 impact block, and a pretty good athlete to boot with good 71 speed, 80-74 acceleration, good agility as well. So all in all, a very good draft class for the Raiders. Let's take a peek how the rest of the league drafted in the first round, and then we're going to wrap up this offseason. And can you believe we didn't get Keon O'Neill? Can't believe that. The rest of the first round kind of shaped up like this. Xavier Thomas, Rondale Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, we saw go before our selection of Trevor Lawrence. After that, the Colts brought in Patrick Surtain at corner. Penei Sewell went to the Lions franchise tackle. Justin Ross to the Bengals. Caden Stearns to the Broncos. Taron Vincent. Justin Fields is the new quarterback there, taking over for Deshaun Watson in Houston. So we definitely knew we at least had to pass them up to get a quarterback. Kuda went to the Giants. They got KJ Henry to the Titans. Tight end there, we got Waddle, Patrick Queen, Woodbay, Trey Dean, Marco Wilson, some offensive linemen, Matt Abuke, Breven Jordan, 75 overall tight end, going to be Jordan Reed's replacement in Washington. JT Daniels, okay, they had the success of Ryan Tannehill, but the Saints going out and getting a very promising quarterback prospect from USC, which, how many times have you said that? You know, USC, they just, let's be honest, overrated school for producing NFL quarterbacks. Maybe JT Daniels can be the option. I'm sure we're probably going to see him win multiple MVPs like year 5 and 6 of this save. Micah Parsons going to the Steelers. You got Scary Terry going to the Browns. Chasson, 75 overall. Great value there. Taking over for probably Leonard Floyd. That is a scary defense, getting even better. Tremendous prospect out of LSU. Creed Humphrey going there. Alan Bowman going to the Chargers. So that's who we're going to be taking on. Alan Bowman and Trevor Lawrence could be your next big quarterback rivalry here in the AFC West. We'll wrap it up here. We won't do the preseason. We'll do the preseason as its own episode because I'm sure we've already been here far too long. I mean, that's... We got to move on from Keon O'Neill. We got to move on from the fact that we weren't able to bring in any big free. We only really bid on one. We put all our eggs in one basket. I can't believe. Why would you choose the Dolphins over playing in Las Vegas? I mean, Miami's a nice city, the whole tax thing, but I'm pretty sure you don't pay taxes in Vegas either. And there's prostitution. There's hookers. How are you not coming where there's hookers? So as we finish and get ready for year 3, actually, we'll go to the other menu. That's where it looks better. Here's how our team shapes up. So at the quarterback room, we got our boy in Trevor Lawrence. Tank for Trevor season was on. We had to absorb the ugly contract of Kirk Cousins. So there's no more Derek Carr. Kirk Cousins is going to be the veteran option. You know, hey, if there's a way that we can maybe get a scenario where Kirk Cousins wants to take Trevor Lawrence under his wing, if that's the scenario engine that we get popped up, it might all be worth it. You know, as the veteran, we only have him for one more year, and then that'll be a lot more money we can sling into probably missing out and whiffing on another free agent next offseason, but it's only 1 year deal there for Kirk Cousins. At running back, we got Josh Jacobs, Richard, Eno Benjamin. We brought in the speedster Puka Williams, who has the most acceleration out of all of our running backs, which is huge. And I mean, eventually, I mean, you know, that's stable. Jalen Richard's kind of starting to look like the odd man out. Maybe we throw him up on the trade block and we roll with Josh Jacobs, Eno Benjamin, Puka Williams backfield. But either way, for right now, until Madden proves otherwise, you can never have enough depth at running back with all of the injuries. So I like that stable. It's a healthy stable. Very, you know, everyone outside of Josh Jacobs is a compliment to Josh Jacobs. Fullback, we got Chris Warren, the 2-time Pro Bowler, becoming like automatic. He's like Lorenzo Neal, if you will, not stylistically, but just give him automatic Pro Bowl. See if we can make it 3 for 3 next season. At wide receiver, AB is still top at 33, regressive just a little bit, but don't get it twisted. He's the best wide receiver in the league. And now with Trevor Lawrence using him, you got CeeDee Lamb, superstar. He's a superstar. Okay, he's a superstar. We got Renfro. That connection is heating up. Ratley made the Pro Bowl. We got Aitman, Basher, J.J. Nelson. There's going to be some big battles at the bottom of that depth chart throughout the preseason for who's going to make the 53. At tight end, we have the most underrated tight end in the National Football League, and I can say that now because he didn't make the Pro Bowl last year in Foster Moreau. We got O'Leary, Breeland, and Ford rounding out that offensive line. Colton Miller's a 78. You know, he's almost in an 8. He's developing. I mean, he's given up a bunch of sacks, but he is developing. John Runyon at left guard. He's a 73. We got Rodney Hudson at center. That's nice. I'm going to just go ahead and cut this guy right away. Sorry, you're not as good as Lloyd Cushenberry III. At right guard, we got Gabe Jackson still hating on. That could be an interesting decision come next offseason. I don't know if he's out of contract, but the fact that he's carrying almost a $10 million cap hit and he's a below 80, I mean, we could free up some Skrilla there. Right tackle, Trent Brown, even though he's not been playing well. Again, another guy that we could save a lot of money depending on how the free agency market. And now we know we have to extremely overpay to try to land any of these targets that we want to get. So Trent Brown, you know, Gabe Jackson with Kirk Cousins. We're going to have a lot of money to spend next offseason. Cleveland Ferrell is becoming an emerging superstar at defensive end. He's an 84. We got Hassan Riddick, who's solid, 79 overall. He's just a solid guy. I don't know if his job security is nearly as good as anyone else on the defensive line, but he's solid. At D tackle, we have Mo Hurst, an emerging superstar. Neville Gallimore had a really strong rookie season, looking to follow up here in the sophomore year. At linebacker, Abram, in my opinion, is going to be the best linebacker in the National Football League in 2 years' time. But right now, he at least has a tag of the best young linebacker in the National Football League. And there's a lot of talent there. Leighton Vander Esch, Roquan Smith, Darius Leonard, just to name a few. What's his name? Tremaine Edmonds is really good, but I think Abram might be the best of the bunch. That's biased. Darren Lee and Melifonwu. We got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. My God, if we could have just put Keon O'Neill in there. Oh, that is going to be tough. I hope. I'm going to check this before we leave that we play the Dolphins because I want to just embarrass Keon O'Neill. In the secondary, we have Garyon Conley, 10 picks over the last 2 years. Would be nice if we can get him to grow in dev trade at some point. That normal dev trade is annoying. Vernon Hargreaves had a solid year last year. C.J. Henderson looking to make a big step up. Then we just got a bunch of depth. Mac McCain, our second-round pick with that hidden depth trait. Hopefully he shines throughout this preseason and can make a couple spots here and maybe become our fourth corner just because of the upside that we know he has. LaMarcus Joyner at free safety. We got Denmark, a star depth trait, but he is in that mold that we could make him a linebacker if we really want to. Blankenship, hidden depth trait, more so suited to be the depth at strong free safety. Sorry, we got Carl Joseph here still doing his thing. Carlson and Townsend, now that I'm controlling him, we don't have to worry about, saving the save. We're going to bring our special teams unit, make sure they're best in the league yet again. So before we let you go, I just want to see, for my sanity, are we taking on the Dolphins this year in the regular season? Please say we are. Yes! Week 12, mark it. Raiders by 50. I am going to pump the ever-living shit out of the Dolphins that week. I'm going to take all of my frustrations that I have right now. Oh my God, I'm going to break records. I'm going to throw 9 touchdowns with Trevor Lawrence in that game. But until then, guys, I hope you did enjoy this Raiders offseason. We got our guy. Trevor Lawrence season has begun in Las Vegas. And I hope you guys are as pumped as I am to get into year 3 of the Vegas Raiders franchise mode here in Madden 20. As always, smash that like button because of the offseason. Maybe if we can shoot for 2,000 likes, that would be awesome. That would be insane. Subscribe if it's your first time stopping by. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.
Money I'm spending, I'm out and I'm shopping. You talking that shit, well you talking and talking. Look at my options, look at me dropping. Ass in the game, like who are you stopping? Know what I mean?